Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As the world burns with terror and hatred, Bharat has stepped in to douse the fires of war in the Middle East. While Israel declares war against the axis of terror, the world watches with dread and trepidation as the drums of a full-blown war get louder. United States has warned that Iran is preparing to enter the conflict with a ballistic missile attack on Israel. US has also rushed in squadrons of F-15Es and F-16 fighter jets to the Middle East to give close air support to Israeli ground troops. Now, let's tell you why all eyes are pinned on India, the messenger of peace, to help diffuse the tensions in the Middle East. Prime Minister Modi last night spoke to the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, categorically saying that terrorism has no place in our world. He also warned against regional escalation and appealed for an early restoration of peace and stability in the region. In the last 1 year of the Israel-Palestine conflict, Prime Minister Modi has reached out to both sides. He's met the Israeli president in December 2023 and the Palestinian president just last month in New York. Remember, India is also seen as a peace diplomat in the Russia-Ukraine war. Since the war began, Prime Minister Modi has met Ukrainian President Zelensky at least 4 times. He even visited Ukraine in August this year in a clear gesture of humanitarian outreach, of course. He also met President Putin at the Indo-Russia summit in July this year. Now, when the world is again on the brink of yet another escalation in the Middle East, Prime Minister Modi has stepped in, but unfortunately, back home in India, the pitch for peace is being sacrificed at the altar of politics by the India partners. While Congress's Jairam Ramesh calls him a Vishwa-Gyani, the left asks why he is not dousing the fires in Manipur instead. First, watch how Rajniti is today undermining the efforts for world peace.
प्रधानमंत्री हैं, वो क्या बोलते हैं, क्या नहीं बोलते हैं, अपनी एक इंटरनेशनल इमेज बनाने में लगे रहते हैं. वो ट्रेन से बैठ के चले गए अभी सोवियत रूस की सीमा पर यूक्रेन में, अब यहाँ बोल रहे हैं. यहाँ सुन कौन रहा है इनकी. पर ये जरूर मैं कहना चाहता हूँ कि उन्हें मणिपुर पे ज्यादा ध्यान देना चाहिए, जिसके लिए सीधे सीधे वो जिम्मेदार हैं. वहां के कभी गए नहीं वो.
People in India are going to ask that when there is a civil war like situation in one state which your party is ruling, when they tell the BJP that, what is the answer that the Prime Minister has?
Congress party needs to come out beyond Manipur. Manipur is a sensitive area. All of us need to work together. Working going on. Let Congress party stop stoking fire in the cauldron of Manipur.
Even as Prime Minister Modi is being derided for his message to crush terror, nations like Pakistan are busy hosting hate preachers like Zakir Naik. Of course, many in the opposition ranks who today mock Modi have glorified terrorists. Congress's Manishankar Iyer called Zakir Naik a peace messenger. PDP chief Mehbooba Mufti paused her rally in solidarity for Hezbollah butcher Nasrallah. Omar Abdullah called Burhan Wani an icon of disaffected youth in Kashmir. Today they also shed tears over the death sentence to Afzal Guru, the parliament attack accused and convict. While their sympathies lie with terrorists, their main enemy seems to be Prime Minister Modi and efforts against war. So, ladies and gentlemen, the legitimate question that we are asking on the Newshour tonight: peace pitch undermined for politics back home? That's the question, and that's the debate coming up on the other side.
You're watching the News Hour at 9. Debate number 1 on Times Now. Super Prime Time.
Joining the debate tonight, Shehzad Poonawala, national spokesperson of the BJP, Dr. Anand Ranganathan, author, scientist, political analyst, also finding various vaccines against various diseases which I can't even pronounce. So thank you for joining me, Dr. Anand Ranganathan, and many congratulations to you. Tariq Khan, national spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, Tausif Ahmed Khan, lawyer and political analyst. But my first question on the show tonight goes to Tehseen Poonawala, a die-hard Congress supporter, breathes Congress, just doesn't get a ticket to fight an election from the Congress. But Tehseen, my question to you tonight is just one. Why, when the world is burning, when there is a position our country, India, is taking against terrorism and talking about peace in the region because there's no space for war, should the Congress party raise the issue of Manipur? Why do you want to distract attention away from what's happening globally and dilute India's stand?
Navika, thank you so much at the onset for having me in the show, and many congratulations to my brother Anand Ranganathan, my elder brother. He's almost like a father figure to me, but jokes apart for the phenomenal work you are doing. So many congratulations to you and your team and Dr. Shelly Jesse. But two things, Navika ji. First of all, I congratulate the Prime Minister. He's trying to bring about take forward the relationship with Israel. Israel is a friend of India. Israel, we all know, is baiting Iran into a war. They do want to go into a war with Iran, and Iran's a friend of India. So the Prime Minister is doing the right thing. Congratulations as so far as that is concerned. Nobody is questioning that part of his foreign policy. But let's ask some questions of the Prime Minister and the government of India. Right in our neighborhood, we have an absolute, the neighborhood policies failed. Whether it's the Look East policy, Bangladesh, our closest ally today, is still in India. Whether it is the policy failure in the Maldives, whether it is the Prime Minister's failure with regards to China or Amit Shahji's failures with regards to China, this is our neighborhood policy. Let's look further down, Russia, Ukraine. Everybody supported the Prime Minister dealing with Russia and Ukraine. The opposition stood by the Prime Minister. Even in this conflict, they stood by the Prime Minister. Bangladesh stood by. What happened? You said Ajit Doval ji to brief President Putin. Why does Ajit Doval ji have to brief President Putin? Is President Putin the head of India? Why does Ajit Doval ji should brief the President of India? Brief and say the Prime Minister sent me to brief you. Why does Ajit Doval ji have to brief? Now let's come to Manipur. If there is a war-like situation in Israel and they are looking at entering Lebanon, they are looking at dragging Iran into a war, and I do understand the situation. And once again, I applaud the Prime Minister. Manipur is in a war. Drones and rockets are being used. I was on Times Now where your colleague Madhav showed the rockets being used in Manipur. I am asking everybody, irrespective of our gender, political ideology, a state of India is being attacked by rockets and drones. And the government of India is quiet. And the opposition is blamed for bringing that up. Are the Métis and the cookies not us? Yes, we have to stand up for the Israelis and the Palestinians and the Iranians. But what about our Métis and our cookies and our Nagas and the rockets and the drones? And if we ask our Prime Minister to also look east his policy, why are we wrong? We are telling him, please solve Israel-Palestine, help Iran, but also help our fellow citizens in Manipur.
Well, Tehseen Poonawala, impassioned plea over there. The question here is not why should not worry about Manipur. Of course, worry about Manipur. But when questions on Manipur are answered in Parliament, why does the Congress walk out? Are you not going to stand there and question the Prime Minister? What is the job of the opposition if it doesn't want to listen to the Prime Minister talking on Manipur? Number one. Number two, you're talking about Bangladesh, you're talking about everywhere around our own country. How many people in the Congress party have a soft corner in their hearts for Zakir Naik? How come none of them have been condemned so far? Whether it is Digvijay Singh, whether it is Manishankar Iyer, why not one word from the Congress on any of these terror or hate preachers? And number three, the question that I want to ask you, raise and learn to raise the difference between what is foreign policy and what is a global issue pending everybody's attention and what is a domestic issue, and how the two cannot be spoken of in the same breath is the question that I want to ask Shehzad Poonawala.
I would like 10 seconds to answer that. You made a charge. I'd like 10 seconds before you go to BG. If you allow me, 10
No,
seconds.
after Shehzad, come.
Sure.
देखिए, मणिपुर बहाना है मोदी विरोध में भारत का विरोध ही कर जाना है. Today they are opposing even the stand we are taking against terrorism because they want to oppose Modi. It's a good thing that he has not said that oxygen is good. Otherwise, Tehseen Poonawalla would suffocate on live TV. Now let me tell Tehseen Poonawalla. 1990 Manipur 300 killed, 93 1100 killed, 97 400 killed, 2006 105 killed, 2008 200 killed, 2010 220 killed, 2012 165 killed. In the same period, 150 trips were undertaken by the prime ministers of the country at the time when these deaths took place in Manipur. 2004 to 14, 11,121 attacks took place. At that time, Manmohan Singh went out 50 plus times. And today there is a 73% decline in deaths, attacks, 86% decline in civilian deaths. So this is the hypocrisy of Tehseen Poonawalla. It's not about Manipur. If it was, Manipur, the no confidence motion was brought in the center. No confidence motion brought in the state assembly, even though there was an assembly session there. They wanted discussion at the time of Delhi legislative bill. They all came together and forgot Manipur. And when Manipur discussion happened, that time they walked out. So it's not about Manipur. It is not about Vishwa-Gyani. It is about दुनिया भर की hypocrisy. नसरल्ला शहीद है ना, गाजा के मुसलमानों के लिए आंसू निकलते हैं ना. Show me one CWC statement on Bangladeshi Hindus that has taken place. Nothing. Silent on that. Silent on Kashmiri Hindus. But forget that. I want to ask you two specific questions. Do you know who Mr. Mohammed Sharif is? You won't know. I'll answer. नसरल्ला के लिए जो नस काट रहे हैं अपनी, मोहम्मद शरीफ इज अ SPO who died in May 2024 from the Jammu Kashmir Special Police Officer. Not single tweet by Rahul Gandhi, Mahbooba Mufti or National Conference. You know who's Bashir Ahmed? 2 days ago he was martyred in Katua. You know. But you are not Congress. आप कोल्ड प्ले के टिकट से खुश हो, कांग्रेस का टिकट तो लेने से रहे आप. Anyway, बशीर अहमद वो भी कोल्ड प्ले का भी टिकट मुश्किल लग रहा है आपके लिए. Anyway, Bashir Ahmed was martyred 2 days ago. At that time, not a single tweet made by any of these worthies. Now, Tehseen Poonawalla, I'll tell you the real problem. The problem is today, Russia also speaks to India, America also speaks to India, Ukraine also speaks to India, Israel से भी हमारी दोस्ती, पैलेस्टाइन का हाईएस्ट सिविलियन ऑनर मिला, SCO में भी हमें, क्वाड में भी हमें, ये इनके लिए हजम नहीं होता है. और मालदीव्स की क्योंकि उन्होंने बात किया, I'll specifically answer. Maldives ran entire campaign India out. Muizu got elected. Today the same Muizu was in India saying Indian tourists चाहिए हमको, please Indian tourists फिर से भिजवा दो. I respect the honorable president of Maldives. I'm not saying anything against him, but I am saying this is the U-turn that has taken place. मोदी है तो मुमकिन है, but Tehseen, because last you have irked me, scratched me and pushed me, I am going to ask you. मणिपुर की बड़ी चिंता है ना आपको. Name the 8 northeast states with the capitals.
Look,
without googling.
I will. No. Why will I need? I don't. First of all, I don't need to Google the northeast states and the capitals. The issue is I'm not here for the.
Let me know your knowledge.
Oh,
okay, rapid fire. Tehseen Poonawalla, first question. If it's about Manipur,
Arunachal Pradesh, Itanagar, Assam is Dispur, Nagaland is Kohima, Manipur is Imphal, Meghalaya is Shillong.
नीचे देख के पढ़ रहे हो Google.
Tripura is Agartala and Mizoram is
Google knowledge. Well, Google knowledge. Google knowledge.
Mizoram is as well. 1 second. Can I please?
नीचे देख लो.
Meghalaya, Shillong. No, why? I have my notes in front of me and there's nothing wrong in it. I knew these silly questions will come up. So I'm very clear about it. I'll say without saying doubt.
So he has his notes in front of him. He knew silly questions would come up, and therefore he has it written in front. Exactly the point that Shehzad was making, and Anand Ranganathan, I have to get you in on this. I'll come back to you, Tehseen, but Anand Ranganathan, notes hai, likha hua hai. He knew that this question would come up. Fair for Tehseen Poonawalla?
Good evening, Navika, and good evening to my fellow panelists. No, I think it's fair. I think Shehzad, my other brother tonight on the panel, is being a little unfair because this is bookish knowledge and somebody might have it, somebody not. अब राहुल गांधी से पूछना चलोगे तो इंडिया कैपिटल क्या है वो नहीं पता चलेगा. इसका मतलब थोड़ा ना कि LOP नहीं है वो. No, but 3 or 4 points out here. नाविका, नंबर 1, मैंने आपसे कितनी बार कहा है कि तहसीन को पैनल पे ना बुलाया करें ये कह के कि ये कांग्रेस का सपोर्टर है. Tehseen and Congress are like chalk and cheese. All Tehseen does on the panel is muddy the waters. Tehseen की एक बात नेशनल इंटरेस्ट में है, इंडिया को प्यार करता है, सारी चीज लॉजिकल रैशनल बोलता है. ये कांग्रेस सपोर्टर कैसे हो गया? Right now, I'll tell you why Congress is raking up Manipur. Because they're embarrassed that not only they, their leaders, but their alliance partners are supporting Hezbollah. That is what they're embarrassed about. और मणिपुर की इतनी चिंता थी तो मुझे बता दो कि 2011 में जब यूपीए की सरकार थी उसने कांग्रेस की सरकार मणिपुर से कहा था कि भाई ये जो मैतीज मांग रहे हैं एसटी स्टेटस इसके बारे में व्हाइट पेपर लाओ, तब एकदम चुप्पी थी। उसके बाद जब हाई कोर्ट ने यही रिपीट किया, the whole state has erupted. Congress is not going back to the original reason for the whole problem in Manipur. खुद आधी चीजें बताते नहीं हो, जब लोकसभा में एज यू सेड डिबेट होती है तो बात नहीं करते, वॉकआउट कर जाते हो, और यहाँ पे तहसीन को बुला लेते हैं, सारी अच्छी चीजें बोलता है, सारी ठीक चीजें बोलता है और कह रहे हो कांग्रेस का स्टैंड है। तहसीन एंड कांग्रेस आर लाइक chalk and cheese. Now let me come to the thrust of the topic. Navika, it's a very serious topic. But before I go to the thrust, I would like to ask you something that you can say after my time is done. There are 6 people on the panel tonight, including you. I am challenging you. Go around the panel. Ask, do you believe Nasrallah was a terrorist? 6 में से 2 लोग कहेंगे कि नहीं, terrorist नहीं था। आप खुद पता लगा लेना। बहरहाल, supporting Israel is not only moral. I am so glad that India is doing it. It is imperative that we do so. Because we'll be repaying a debt, Navika, and that is what friends do. Let me first explain the debt, because many people might have forgotten. Navika, we have forgotten. But have we really? That in the wake of Pokhran...
1971 war, Kargil war, of course we remember. And I hope the Congress does too.
No, Congress doesn't. Because when in 1971 war, Israel was the one that helped us. In the Yom Kippur war of 1973, Congress ditched them. This is the problem. Now, I need at least maybe a minute, Navika, because I want to tell you why it is morally right to support Israel. Do I have a minute?
Yes, yes, go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you. Because this never comes up in a debate. Look, number one, and I'm going to deal with only facts. Hamas and Hezbollah, they use residential areas and hospitals as ammo dumps and patients as human shields, thereby rendering Geneva Convention invalid. And here is the thing. The hospitals in Gaza were safe and functioning well till October 6 last year. Were they not? And they would have continued to be safe and function well. Beyond that, had Hamas not murdered 1,400 innocent Jews and microwave babies on October 7 and brought this war upon itself? So let me be clear. Hamas alone is responsible for the Gaza tragedy. Hezbollah alone is responsible for the Lebanon tragedy. The Jews were in the land of Israel more than 1,000 years before Islam was even born. So this argument that the land does not belong to Jews is totally wrong. Number 3, while the Israel Declaration of Independence Charter does not discriminate between Jews and Muslims, the Charter of Hamas, democratically elected by the way by the Palestinians, proclaims that the day of judgment will not come until Muslims fight Jews and kill them. Israel will continue to exist until Islam obliterates it, just as it obliterated others before it. Number 4, and this is important, Israel has voluntarily given up land, Sinai, West Bank, Gaza, that it had taken over after the Arab-Israeli wars. If it was so perennial aggressor, why would it do so? And finally, Israel believes in two-state solution.
Absolutely, and in today's world, you have to look at the global situation and decide where you stand. And that is exactly what Prime Minister Narendra Modi was doing. Where is the objection that the Congress is bringing on to this? Tehseen Poonawalla, thank you. Don't be so touchy. I just.
It's not a question of touchy, ma'am. We come on your show. We really research and come, and I knew this question was come up, so I wrote the points down. It's not, you're not here to.
Yeah, so you don't leave the show and go, because this is the show that people of this country watch.
I agree, but
make your point.
We're not here to be humiliated. Fair point, but we're not here to be humiliated. I knew this question would come up, so I wrote the answers down. Of course, I would write it down. I will make my notes. It's my right to make my notes. How can you say why am I reading from my notes? I come prepared on your show. But can I make another point? I just want to make one point, and I think it's a respect to you that I come prepared for your show. So I think that should not be mocked. But anyways, may I make another point? Look, just on Manipur, I don't want to diverse. Manipur, the reason we are bringing up Manipur and the conflict in Manipur is 2. And again, I say, whatever political ideology divide you are, there are rockets being used in Manipur, and the Chief Minister of Manipur, N. Biren Singh Ji, has gone on record and said these are foreign countries and sovereign countries that are attacking India. Now, this is an attack on the sovereign territory of India. If these are foreigners attacking India with drones and rockets, this is the stand of N. Biren Singh Ji. Now, if there's an attack on India, I actually am one of those guys who admire in Israel and its resilience. I am saying my territory is also being attacked. Can I also see some amount of action there? I am saying stand with Israel.
Okay, fantastic. Tehseen Poonawalla, then why was the Congress out there standing up and asking questions when the surgical strikes took place? That is something that doesn't sit well with the Congress party, because it will raise these questions regardless of whatever the Modi Sarkar does, because there is a political problem that the Congress party has with Modi. I'm coming to you, Shehzad, but let me get in Tariq Khan first. And I just want to play out the visual, the point that Anand Ranganathan made. I want to pick out the visual of the parachute landing in Israel on the 7th of October, 2023. And those visuals of attacking tourists, of attacking party goers, do you call this an act of terror, yes or no, Tariq Khan?
1977.
No,
Delhi.
7th October 2023. My question has to be answered before you go on to any other circa, 40 years ago.
In my mouth.
2023, 7th October.
You cannot.
Was this a terrorist act? Yes or no?
You cannot put your words in my mouth. जो मोरे मुंह से निकले वही
मैं तो आपसे सवाल पूछ रही हूँ. ये तस्वीरें recent तस्वीरें हैं. आप बता दीजिए ये टेरर एक्टिविटी थी या नहीं?
External Affairs Minister, 1977.
Yes or no? Tariq Khan, yes or no?
Let me say something.
See, no position.
1977.
No position.
1977.
No, you will not take any position. 7th October 2023, was it an act of terror? Yes or no, Tariq Khan? Anand Ranganathan, why is Tariq Khan not taking a position?
Navika, please let me correct you. He has taken a position. He doesn't consider that as a terror act.
Shehzad, why?
I'll tell you very simply, because Tariq Khan's party had said in its 2012 manifesto that we will release Muslim terrorists. They started releasing them. The High Court said, "Aaj release kiya hai, kal Padma Shri doge kya?" This is a party when Simi was convicted by Supreme Court. Mulayam Singh Yadav said these are innocent children. Please don't interrupt. I did not interrupt anybody. Please don't interrupt. I did not, Navika. I seek your sanrakshan. I did not interrupt anybody.
Okay.
Navika, just
one at a time.
There's
one
no
at
need
a
for
time.
anybody
Tariq
to
Khan
interrupt.
and Shehzad Poonawalla on rapid fire. Shehzad first, then Tariq, you respond.
Is it or is it not a fact? Please, Navika, without interruptions. We can do it without interruptions. Navika, without interruptions. Navika, I will not speak. My voice will not be.
Tariq Khan, hold on. Pause. Press the pause button. I'm lowering your volume. Shehzad, make your point. 30 seconds. Questions.
Isn't it a fact that in 2012 manifesto, Samajwadi Party said release Muslim terrorists, and those terrorists got convicted and the Allahabad High Court had put a stay on it? Isn't it a fact that Samajwadi Party came out in defense of Simi when it was convicted? Isn't it a fact that the Congress Party said that Pulwama and Poonch was done by internal hands, it was a stuntbazi? Isn't it a fact that Hemant Karkare, who's Tehseen Poonawalla's very good friend, was said by Mr. Vijay Wadattiwar that he was not killed by Kasab, but he was killed by Hindu policemen? Isn't it a fact that Osama bin Laden ki biography padni chahiye is like APJ Abdul Kalam, was said by Jitendra Awad's wife? Jitendra Awad said Ishrat Jahan was a very great person, she was not an elite terrorist. Isn't it a fact that Sam Pitoda said don't blame Pakistan? Isn't it a fact that NC, Congress Alliance, India Alliance wants us to talk to Pakistan and they put it in their manifesto? Are these not facts? And secondly, you know KT Jalil. Tehseen, if you know your notes, please refer to your notes for this. KT Jalil has said Hamas is not a terrorist organization. And Shailaja, the health minister, deleted a Facebook post when she called Hamas a terrorist organization. Since you are akin to taking positions which are not exactly Congress positions, why don't you tell me whether you think that this was right on the part of the left parties to hail and eulogize somebody that orchestrated an attack on women and children on 7th
Many
of October?
questions. First lot of questions to Tariq Khan. Tehseen, coming to you after that. Tariq Khan, respond.
Minutes have been given to other panelists and not even seconds given to me. It's all right. Thank you, ma'am. 1977, Atal Bihari Vajpayee says for permanent peace in Middle East, Israel must vacate Palestine land. It has illegal occupation. What was the stand at that time, Atal Bihari Vajpayee? Now what I'm saying, any innocent killing should be condemned in strongest word, whether it's in Palestine or in Israel. This is how I stand, simple and clear. But what Atal Bihari Vajpayee, they should respond what he said at that time. That was an illegal occupation set by Atal Bihari Vajpayee as an external affairs minister. And you have talked about Zakir Naik. I have seen Mr. Ranganathan saying
now Tariq ji, since you have got minutes, but you have spoken about centuries. Now please listen.
I hadn't not even 20
No, because you have to make an intervention when you misquote. When you misquote, I have to make an intervention. The fact of the matter is India's policy still today has not changed. It's a two-state policy that we continue to imbibe. We continue to stand by a two-state solution. But the point is that do you consider Hamas to be Palestine? Do you consider Hamas to be Palestine? Do you consider Hamas and its actions to be the actions of innocent Palestinians? अरे मैं मुसलमान हूँ, क्या मुसलमान का लेकर बोझा घूम रहे हो विक्टिम उठकर? मैं भी
मुसलमान दूसरे मुसलमान से मुसलमानों के बारे में बात कर रहा है और इल्जाम मुझ पर। तारिक खान साहब जवाब दीजिए ना। Why to bring up your religion? Why to bring up your religion?
तहसील पुणे वाला बीच में बोला, आपने रोका इसको?
Hello. Can we not have such words on national television, sir? I request you. Let's not cross lines.
नहीं बोलेंगे, पसमानदा को बोलेंगे। ये पसमानदा समाज का अपमान है। इन्होंने जमादार समाज का अपमान किया है। ये पसमानदा को बोलेंगे, पर ये हमास इनका दामाद है। हमास इनका दामाद है।
मैं भी पसमानदा।
काय का सैयद लगा के पसमानदा बन गया।
सारे मुसलमान ही पसमानदा।
हाँ, we know your सैयद तारिक अहमद. So please quit it.
No, it's all right. It's all right. You cannot.
हमास आतंकी है या नहीं है? हमास का एक्शन आतंकी है या नहीं है?
आप मेरे बीच में क्यों बोले? You cannot.
Okay, allow him to speak.
आप झूठ
allow him to speak. Allow him to complete. Allow him to complete his point. Allow him to complete his point. I don't want an Israel Hamas war right here.
आप जब लोग बोलते हैं, रंगनाथन साहब और शहजाद भाई बोलते हैं, तो लगता है मैम सत्संग हो रहा है, आराम से सुनते हैं। हमको अगर ये भी इंटरप्ट करते हैं तब भी आप कुछ नहीं बोलती हैं। जाकिर नायक साहब मेरे गुरु हैं, ये रंगनाथन साहब कह रहे थे। पता नहीं अब आगे इनका क्या स्टैंड होगा। मैंने सुना 1-2 दिन पहले इनका एक वीडियो कह रहे थे, अभी बताएंगे क्यों कह रहे थे। जाकिर नायक मलेशिया का एक सेकंड मलेशिया का प्रधानमंत्री भारत आया था, हमारे उसकी एक्सट्रेडिशन ट्रीटी है। क्या प्रधानमंत्री ने जाकिर नायक को इंडिया लाने की बात की? वो आतंकवादी है, मैं मान लेता हूं, वो आग लगाता है, कोई बात की प्रधानमंत्री ने? हमारे 0 बात। मिले, कहा मेरा भाई है, टाटा बाय बाय। उसके बाद हम यहां जाकिर नायक को बैठ के गाली देंगे? बुलाइए उसको इंडिया, हमारी ट्रीटी है एक्सट्रेडिशन की मलेशिया के साथ। क्या आपने एक्शन लिया? क्या एक्सटर्नल अफेयर मिनिस्टर ने इनका स्टेटमेंट दिया? 0 स्टेटमेंट। उसके बाद हम कहेंगे वो जाकिर नायक आतंकवादी है, वो आग लगाता है कोर्ट पे बाहर पे, और हम बैठ के यहां पर उसकी आग को आग सेकते हैं। दिस इज फेयर? आपने
इस वक्त वो स्टेट गेस्ट है पाकिस्तान में, इस वक्त वो स्टेट गेस्ट है पाकिस्तान।
मलेशिया के प्राइम मिनिस्टर जब इंडिया आए थे तो प्रधानमंत्री ने जाकिर नायक को एक्सट्रेडिशन ट्रीटी है हमारी उनके साथ, कई सालों पहले इंडिया वापस लाने की बात की। 0 बात।
आप शायद अखबार भी नहीं पढ़ते हैं, स्टेटमेंट्स ऑफ फॉरेन मिनिस्ट्री नहीं पढ़ते, बट आनंद रंगनाथन फैक्ट्स प्लीज काउंटर।
हाँ नहीं, तारिक साहब ने कहा कि आनंद रंगनाथन ये कहते हैं कि जाकिर नायक उनके गुरु हैं। आप पता नहीं कहें कि ना कहें। तारिक साहब अभी मैं देखिए मेरे लिप्स पढ़ लीजिए, जाकिर नायक मेरे गुरु हैं। आप समझे? अब मैं एक्सप्लेन करता हूं, अगर 1 मिनट दें, इंटरप्ट मत कीजिएगा, धैर्य से सुनिएगा वो मेरे गुरु क्यों हैं। बिकॉज जाकिर नायक, नाविका, इज नॉट गिल्टी ऑफ रेडिकलाइजिंग मुस्लिम यूथ। हाउ कैन यू रेडिकलाइज एनीवन? इफ आई इम्बाइब चैप्टर एंड वर्स ऑफ लेनिंजर बायोकेमिस्ट्री, वुड यू कॉल मी अ रेडिकल साइंटिस्ट? So bhai, I don't think he preaches hate. He has been made a convenient scapegoat by Muslims who are Islamophobic. That is, they fear Islam. They fear to bring out the orders and the commandments of their holy book in their entirety because they fear being called illiberal and hypocrites. They snare the fundamentalists but spare the fundamentals. Zakir is unapologetic about the fundamentals. Stopping Zakir Naik from quoting what is written in the holy book is like preventing me from quoting what is written in Darwin's Origin of Species. We are the medium, not the origin. How are we guilty when Zakir Naik says Those who abuse Allah and His Messenger, Allah has cursed them in this world and hereafter and prepared for them a humiliating punishment. He's only quoting chapter 33, verse 57, when he says, those who disbelieve in our verses, we will drive them into a fire. And every time
preachings are banned in this country, so I don't want you to preach Zakir Naik in this country on national television, Anand Ranganathan. आपके जितने भी बड़े गुरु हों, लेकिन सवाल ये है, and तौसीफ अहमद खान, my question is simple. And I will once again show you the visuals of October 7, 2023. What happened in Israel to innocent people, innocent tourists, innocent youngsters who were out there? Was it an act of terror? Yes or no? And since then, people kept in captivity by the Hamas on the Gaza Strip. Is that an act of terror? Yes or no?
Navika, more than 143 countries of United Nations has said that Israel is a terrorist state in May. And again, recently, about more than 120 countries again have repeatedly said, effectively, that Israel is a terrorist state. And all of them, overwhelming majority of the United Nations countries, stand with Palestine and stand with Lebanon and their effort
with Hezbollah.
To free
you almost said Hezbollah.
The occupied territories.
You almost said Hezbollah. You almost said Hezbollah. And what happened on Israeli soil, you don't think it was an act of terror?
An armchair commentator sitting in a studio in Delhi says is
irrelevant.
आप कौन
सा साइकिल पे बैठे हैं सर?
And India has voted in favor of Palestine in the United Nations election. So what Prime Minister is saying today is a bluff. He is only bluffing.
You are not on the treadmill either, sir.
And he is being
Why are you calling everybody else an armchair commentator?
Whoever's advice the Prime Minister is taking, he is yes, and whoever's advice Prime Minister is taking is doing a blunder, because that is an insult. Calling the freedom fighters of Palestine and Lebanon a terrorist is an insult to our security forces.
Hamas are freedom fighters.
Manipur.
Hamas are freedom fighters.
So
the Hezbollah is freedom fighters for you. Well, I have nothing to say, Shehzad Poonawala.
No, this is what I was saying from day one, that in the Virod of Modi, they have not only started justifying terrorists of Pakistan, now they are going and justifying global terrorists. Is it a Sahyog or a Prayog? Osama bin Laden ka biography padho. Now they are saying Hezbollah and Hamas, these were Aman ke doot the, Shanti doot the. This is the question, and therefore Congress Party. But I don't fault TMC, I don't fault Samajwadi Party. The main journey of this is Congress Party. The Congress Party, when it openly does not come out and take a stand on 7th October. Show me one statement where the Congress Party has, as India Alliance, has taken a stand on the 7th October killings. Women and child were killed. Mr. Tausif, I did not interrupt you. I sit in the studio and I don't interrupt anybody. Navika.
That's the irony.
Navika, this is not right. Navika,
no, you are speaking.
Navika,
you are speaking from the
it's
notes
not fair.
To you by
Navika, this is not fair.
Okay, I'm coming to you, I'm coming to you, Tausif. Tausif, I'm coming to you. Hear the question, then the answer.
Navika, this is not right.
Okay, go on.
I sit in the studio, yet I never interrupt. And that shows that I don't believe in jihad. I believe in peace. Therefore, let me complete. Now, I am only saying this that...
Don't play victim. You have been speaking...
So you agree that jihad is bad, right? You agree jihad is bad, right? So then those who have been doing jihad against young...
Just be man enough and talk about...
Look, I don't think being man enough or being woman enough, these kinds of misogynistic, sexist terms where one genderism is supposed to be better than the other, only somebody like you can put out that filth on 9 p.m. TV show, that too when it's being anchored by a senior most woman journalist in this country. What is man enough? You can't be woman enough, kya? What kind of nonsense is he speaking?
Against the Israel.
Let me speak. Can you please stop interrupting?
Lowering your fader, ask your question. Ask your question, Shehzad. And then Tausif.
Navika, just now they have said that Hamas and Hezbollah are freedom fighters. Both Hamas and Hezbollah advocate for the killing of every single Jew. They want every Jew exterminated and the state of Israel to be obliterated. Now I want to ask that is this acceptable? We have always championed for two-state solution. We want Israel, Palestine both to live comfortably, peacefully. We are for peace. We are not for A or B. But I am saying one wants complete annihilation of a people. And this Tausif Khan, for scoring 1 point on Modi, is saying those who are calling for the genocide of Jews or genocide of innocent people. And Israel also has Muslims, by the way. It has Muslims living in that country. You want all of them to be killed, and you're saying this on 9 PM TV.
Respond.
And they're freedom fighters.
Respond, Tausif. Do you want to reconsider your statement? Do you still think Hamas and Hezbollah are organizations that are freedom fighters?
Not a word about the United Nations General Assembly and United Nations members' resolution passed time and again. From the last 70 years, India's position has been in favor of Palestine and seeking withdrawal of Israeli forces from the occupied portion of Israel.
Hezbollah. And Lebanon. Palestine is not Hamas, is it? Are you dense?
Liberation Front was supported by
Palestine, Hamas, Hezbollah is all one for people like Tausif, Tariq Khan. I don't know what's going on, Anand Ranganathan.
Navika, it's not a question about Tausif Bhai or Arif Bhai or Tariq Bhai. It's a question about the weakness of the Indian state. On live television, you have a panelist who is saying that Hamas and Hezbollah are freedom fighters. Yesterday, in the heart of Delhi, central Delhi, at the Islamic Cultural Center, they held, all the diplomats came together and they held a condolence meeting for Nasrallah, the terrorist. And we just kept on watching it. The Indian state is watching this, Navika.
Absolutely, and there are candle marches and there are people who are suspending their election campaigns for this. The question tonight, Tehseen Poonawalla, that I want to ask you. In Jammu and Kashmir, when Prime Minister Modi abrogates Article 370 through an act of parliament and holds elections where, touch wood, there has been no violence, there has been exercise of the people's democratic right to choose their own government. Nobody will come out and say, well done, India, this is the way to go. But you raise the issue of Manipur, you raise the issue of every other issue when the Prime Minister talks about no to terrorism and balancing with peace and stability across the world. That is the mindset, Tehseen Poonawalla, that I don't understand. Can you?
So let me first take this opportunity to say the Hamas, the Hezbollah and the Houthis, all three H's are terrorist organization. No if, no but. These are terrorist organizations.
Which is why you're not in the Congress, I guess.
Which is what happened on 7th October was an act of terror. And on 8th October 2019, Jairam Rameshji, the head of the communications department of the Congress, made it extremely clear that what happened in Israel was an act of terror. In fact, on this one issue, as with Russia-Ukraine, the government and the opposition has been on one platform. We stand for Palestine. That is our official position. But Israel is our friend, and the Prime Minister is doing the right thing. The point is, what we are not raising is when 2 kilometers from the Prime Minister's residence, you have people glorifying a terrorist. What is the government of India doing? If Tehseen Poonawalla was the Home Minister of India, he would have acted. I am not. The Home Minister of India.
Oh yes, and then Shehzad Poonawalla, when Rahul Gandhi was standing with those who were saying, Afzal hum sharminda hai, tere qatil zinda hai. If the Prime Minister had taken action, would they not have called it vindictive politics?
He's duty bound to take action.
Vindictive politics?
1 second. First of all, let me tell you that what tweet Mr. Tehseen Poonawalla is referring to, let me read it. The Indian National Congress condemns the attack on the people of Israel. The Indian National Congress supports the legitimate aspirations of the Palestinian people and with respect, equality and dignity must go ahead with dialogue and negotiations. This comes on a day when Israel has suffered an attack by whom? Hamas. This monkey balancing was being done. No categorical, clear-cut condemnation. In fact, by muddying the waters like Tehseen is doing on this show and Mr. Jairam Ramesh did on 8th of October, they have shown that they don't have the spine to call terror. And therefore, they will say Hindu terror, but they will not once say what happened between 1980 to 19 in Kashmir was Islamic Jihad.
Well,
this is their
Hezbollah and Hamas, when they turn up and are called freedom fighters as organizations, what more can you ask for opposition's position on this? When they will not call the attack on Israel on the 7th of October 2023 as an act of terror, what will make them see the difference between terror action and otherwise. Well, there it is, right in front of you, ladies and gentlemen, and we leave it at that because this clearly is soul-stirring and some soul-searching that leaves political parties to do in their calm and silent time. Thank you very much to all my panelists for joining me on debate number 1.